Simple machines transform or transfer energy, multiply speed or force, and change the directions of the forces. Makes our work easier, they allow their user to accomplish more work while exerting less effort. The amount of effort needed to do a job is decreased by using one of these machines. There are 6 types of simple machines: lever, pulley, inclined plane, screw, wedge, wheel, and axle. Lever. A lever is a simple machine made of a rigid bar that pivots on a support called the fulcrum. It is used to increase physical force. Classes of levers: first class lever, second class lever, and the third class lever. The first class lever has its fulcrum located between effort and load. The effort and load resistance move in opposite directions. Example, scissors and hammer. The second class lever has the load between effort and fulcrum. The effort and resistance move in the same direction. Example, wheelbarrow and the nutcracker. The third class lever has the effort between the load and the fulcrum. Effort and resistance move in the same direction. Example, tongs and the fishing rod. Inclined plane. Inclined plane consists of a sloping surface used for moving loads between areas of different heights. Example, ramp and slides. Screw. A screw is an inclined plane wrapped around the central cylinder. The screw fastens things driven into the wood like nuts and bolts. Example, mouth portion of a jar, bolts and screw. Pulley. A pulley is a grooved wheel that turns around an axle with a rope or a chain that is used to lift objects. There may be several of these mounted in a framework called a block. Types of pulley: fixed pulley, movable pulley, block and shackle pulley. A fixed pulley attached to something does not move in the position. Example, flagpole. Movable pulley. A movable pulley is a pulley in which only one of the ropes or chains is attached to a fixed object, like a wall or a beam. Both the load and the movable pulley move from one point to another. Example, cable cars, elevator cable. Block and shackle pulley are a compound pulley, combination of fixed and movable pulleys and used to lift heavy objects. Example, cranes. Wedge. A wedge is a simple machine that narrows to the thin edge and is used to separate two objects or hold things together. Example, knife, axe, and pin. Wheel and axle is a simple machine consisting of a round object and a cylindrical object. In using the wheel and axle, force is applied either the wheel or to the axle. Example, Ferris wheel and axle. Living in a world without machine is almost impossible to imagine. Without even the simplest machines, many tasks that you do on a daily basis would almost be impossible to do. Machines make it.
Levers. What is a machine? You see a knife, a scissors, or a screwdriver in your house.
If someone says that all these things are machines, will you believe it?
Perhaps you will not, but this is true. They are also machines. A device that makes our work easier, faster, and more convenient is a machine. Screwdriver, claw hammer, bottle opener, wheelbarrow, plier, knife, wrench, etc. are simple machines. Simple machines have a few parts only and are easy to use. The basic types of simple machines are lever, inclined plane, screw, pulley, wheel, and axle. Complex machines have many parts and they are made up of a number of simple machines. Washing machine, sewing machine, computer, typewriter, bicycle, etc. are complex machines. They are made from many simple machines. They are also called compound machines. Let us learn more about simple machines. Levers. Suppose your mother asks you to open the lid of a tin which is tightly closed. Is it easy to open it with your hands? No, it is not. It will be better to use a metal spoon or a screwdriver to open the lid of the tin, because it will make it easier to open the lid. Here, the stick and the spoon or the screwdriver are used as levers. A lever is a bar which moves freely about a fixed point. This fixed point is known as a supporting point or the fulcrum. We represent this by F. We use a long metal rod and a stone for lifting a heavy load. The force that we apply on the lever at a fixed point is known as effort. It is represented by E. The weight that we move is known as the load. The load is represented by L. When the load is closer to the fulcrum, it is easy to move the load. Different classes of levers. There are 3 different classes of levers. They are named according to the position of the effort, load, and fulcrum. First class levers, EFL. In such type of levers, the fulcrum, F, is located at some point between the load, L, and effort, E. Screwdriver, plier, claw hammer, seesaw, etc. are the examples of first-class levers. Levers of this kind are called first-class levers. Second-class levers, ELF. In such type of levers, the load, L, is located between the fulcrum, F, and the effort, E. Here, the fulcrum, F, is at one end of the rod and the effort, E, is at the other end. Wheelbarrow, bottle opener, nutcracker, etc. are the examples of second-class levers. Third-class levers, FEL. Levers in which the effort, E, is applied between the fulcrum, F, and the load, L, are called levers of the third class. Here, the load, L, is at one end of the rod and the fulcrum, F, is at the other end. Ice tong, fishing rod, forceps, tweezer, etc. are the examples of third-class levers. Some useful simple machines. Inclined plane. An inclined plane is a simple machine. It is a slope at an angle with the horizontal surface. This slope helps us to move an object to a lower or higher place with less effort. Lifting a heavy object to a height normally needs much more effort, but an inclined plane makes this job easier. Laborers use a wooden plank to load or unload a truck. In airports, hospitals and stations, ramps are provided to push up trolleys, wheelchairs or stretchers, etc. easily. You can move your bicycle up to a higher place if there is an inclined plane. Even flyovers and slides in a park are inclined planes. Have you seen a winding mountain road? It is also an inclined plane. It is nearly impossible for a bus or a truck to go up by a steep road. Buses and cars go up the mountains easily through the winding road, having a gradual slope. Why? Because lesser effort is needed to go up through the winding road. Remember, if the slope of an inclined plane is more gradual, the effort required to push a load up is lesser. Pulley. The pulley is another type of simple machine. It is made up of a grooved wheel with a rope or chain. It works as a lever and helps to change the direction of the force applied. A rope passes through the groove. A pulley can be fixed or movable. A single pulley is generally fixed to support the load. One end of the rope is attached to the load and force is applied at the other end to pull the load upwards. The pulley changes the direction of the force and makes our work easier. Here, we lift the load up by applying a downward force. We use the pulley for pulling the load up and down, but it is easier to take the load down than to pull it up. We use a simple pulley to lift water from a well, to lift building materials, and to hoist a flag on a flagpole. Sometimes we use several pulleys for lifting a heavy load. They work together and reduce the force required to lift the load. This systematic arrangement of several pulleys is known as a block and tackle. It is used in factories, farms, godowns, and garages. Wheel and axle. We see many things around us in which wheels are used. We see wheels in vehicles and machines. Most machines turn other parts in them through wheels. Clocks and sewing machines are the examples of such machines. The movement of vehicles is possible only because of wheels. The wheels form the machine, but the wheel itself is not a machine. A wheel becomes a machine when it combines with a rod in its center. The rod is called the axle. The axle rotates when we move the wheel. So, the wheel and the axle together form a simple machine. We use such machines for lifting heavier loads with lesser force. Using bigger wheels help us to lift huge loads. Know this. Rams are the simplest of all machines. Screw. Have you seen a screw? Its head has a groove to insert a screwdriver to turn it. It holds things together. The screw is a simple machine. It is actually an inclined plane with winding edges. When we try to insert a nail into wood, we have to hammer it. Whereas, in case of a screw, when we turn it with a screwdriver, it goes in easily. Why?
Being an inclined plane,
The screw needs less force to insert into the wood. A screw is commonly used for holding things together. The screw jack also works on the same principle. It is used for lifting cars to repair them. In fact, in revolving chairs and stools, large screws are used.